What's up, everyone? It's CJ here, and you saw on the post. I promised I will post later on today. So today we're gonna be looking at another Sonic AU infection, but this time it's the Mimic lore. So let's turn on that light. So listen, yeah. So what I said, I watched the Sonic Gaia infection. So I'm gonna look at the Mimic one. So make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into the video. Right, so we're going to rewind it to the back of one.
A while back, one of you guys mentioned that I should take a look at the AU called the M.I.M.I.C infection created by Black5 on TikTok, and I'll put some of their other social medias down below as well. The artwork in this one was really cool, and it has an interesting twist with how the infection actually works and who it infects. And after seeing that, I knew that this was definitely an AU that I had to cover. Now, this AU starts off in the Green Hill Zone, of course, and we see Sonic running around until he hears some screeching in the distance. Thinking that someone may be in trouble, he starts looking around, hoping he can get there in time to help. What he ends up finding is a Flicky eating another bird, which normally never happens. When Sonic tries to stop the bird, he ends up getting bitten. At this point, Sonic doesn't know that these birds are infected with some type of virus, so he doesn't even try to dodge when a bird snaps out at him. But in the next chapter, when we get these stat sheets, I'm thinking that Sonic is starting to understand, because even though he managed to bandage his arm up, we can see that it seems to be rotting away under.
Yeah, you're getting infected. You need to cut off your arm. You need to amputate your arm, bro.
And while his infection status says unknown for now, I'm thinking that if he doesn't get help soon, that's definitely going to change. Overall, though, we can see that his stats are all pretty good, except for his stress level, which is likely why he's trying to find Tails. If anyone can help him figure out what's going on.
Yeah, Tails be the one figuring out something. He be like, alright, I know what to find out something. I'm going to do my research and all that.
Right now, it's likely going to be him. And speaking of Tails, in the next slide, we actually get to see his stat sheet. He has locked himself in his workshop because he's extremely scared of what's going on right now. And this makes me think that maybe whatever's happening to these Flickies has already started to spread to the general public. And while we can see that his health is still good, his stress and sanity level are kind of worrying me a little bit. After that, we get to see Knuckles, and he's mostly oblivious to what's happening down below because he's watching over Master Emerald. But he does feel like there's a sense of danger.
Nuck. You need to learn how to go get to safety like your other friend, because just don't worry about that Master Emerald. It's fine.
You're in there. I'm happy to see that his stats are all full for the time being, and I hope that my boy actually gets to shine a little bit in this AU, because usually he doesn't really have big roles. Next we see Amy, and unlike Knuckles, she is in the thick of this mess. Currently been in Station Square, fighting Mobians who have started acting violently and can't be reasoned with. And I really do feel bad for her, because I don't think she understands that her fellow Mobians are really sick. So in her mind, she's bashing these guys against the head without really knowing that they're in the early stages of some type of virus outbreak. And I'm thinking that this is why her stress level is so high. Next, we get to see Eggman, and while he's flying around in an egg carrier, he is very much aware of what's going on down below, and he has even put metal on high alert just in case a flying infected gets onto the ship. I'm really curious to see what role these two are going to be playing in this AU, because Eggman and metal can be a huge asset as long as they're not, being crazy. The final stat sheet of this chapter actually shows.
Who is that? That ugly thing.
It was a strange, shadowy version of Sonic. And I assume that this is the Mobian that the organization Gun has actually been telling people to stay away from.
Following message transmitted at the request of Mobians.
If I heard that, I am. If I heard that, I would be so freaked out. I'm never leaving the house. I'm just going to. I'm going with Sonic and all that. So all that. Gee, bro.
And Flickies have been spotted all around the globe. Do not approach them. In order to stay safe, please lock all doors and stay inside. If you are infected,
if it was Sonic Boom, Sonic would have been already cooked because he do not have no door. He don't have no door.
The nearest human medical center immediately contact contact with anybody. Following this message, images will be displayed on the stages of infection and they are all contagious and not approach them, lock all doors and stay inside.
Now, after that announcement, we get to see the stages of the infection, with stage 1 symptoms being fever, sweats, and anxiety. And even this early on, the infected Mobians or animals are contagious. And because of this virus can spread by people inflicting wounds to each other or spitting / bleeding on somebody. And since there's no cure, the best that they can do right now is try to slow the infection. And this is very important because it is at stage 2 that the infected actually start to become aggressive. We also see that their limbs start to elongate and black liquid starts to ooze from their mouths. And if all that wasn't creepy enough, their faces then start to become paralyzed, making it to where they're always smiling, and then they start laughing like a madman. And an interesting note at the bottom of the page is that humans are infected by this virus as well, but instead of going through any kind of transformations, humans simply die out after about 2 days. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the humans try to take out the Mobians in this AU just to make sure that they don't end up getting sick. At stage 3, the infected no longer laugh, but they still keep that creepy smile on their faces. We also see that their fur or scales start to darken and their limbs become stiff. But what is deceiving here is that even though they move very clunky and robotic, they're actually really fast. Now, something else that surprised me is that at stage 4, the infected limbs start to actually turn into roots, and they start to fuse to the ground and leak black sap out of their wounds. And while they are technically immobile, 500 square feet around the Mobian is basically contaminated ground and it links fumes into the air. So I'm imagining that if anybody gets too close for like a prolonged period of time, they run the risk of getting sick or like getting attacked by infected animals. It seems that once the Mobians get to this stage, they attract a bunch of other infected, especially clickies. So it's best to just avoid them altogether unless you're going to burn them, which is the only known way of killing them for sure.
Yeah, set them on fire. I'ma heat it up under my control. It's the night that you've been waiting on.
At this point. Now, in the next chapter, we see that Shadow has joined the fight in stations.
He got the blicky on him. He got it. He got the blicky on him.
Square and teamed up with Amy.
Yep, you see he got the blicky on his hand. Yep, he got a blicky. Got the blicky on his hand.
Rose even managed to get her to a gun safe house in the area. And as of now, all his stats are great, and Shadow is likely one of the few people who won't have to worry about being infected since he is the ultimate life form, and he's supposed to be immune to disease, although there have been some cases where that didn't work for him. The metal virus is a good example, so we'll just have to wait and see how this actually plays out. Next, we get to see Amy's stat sheet, and I'm really happy to see that she didn't suffer any injuries in this battle. Next, we see Sonic, and once he actually met up with Tails, they decided that he had to lose the arm if he didn't want the infection to spread anymore. And while Sonic is terrified seeing how close he was to death, at least he has this little gift from Cream here to kind of give him some comfort. And it seems like Cream is actually in the workshop right now, having been sent over by Vanilla.
Cream is too innocent. Why does a kid needs to be in this, bro?
When it's Mobian starts attacking. While her health is great, she's obviously freaking out a little bit, which is understandable with everything going on. Unfortunately, we see that her mother was not able to make it to the
Why do Cream's mama always has to die, except for the ones that we just watched yesterday?
Workshop and is currently sitting at stage 2 of the infection. By the looks of it, Chow ended up getting infected and then attacking Vanilla. And honestly, it kind of sucks that Vanilla never gets a happy ending in his AU, but I guess it's kind of easy to push her to the side because she's a fairly minor character, all things considered. Next, we see Tails, and now that he's working on a new arm for Sonic, and his mind is kind of occupied, he seems to be doing a little bit better managing stress and sanity. We also see a bit later that Tails is researching the virus as well. While he doesn't doesn't know a lot about it yet, he at least understands that he can't touch any of the blood. The next stat sheet is Eggman, and he's also been researching this virus, and we have some terrible news. Apparently, this virus warps the DNA of its victims, meaning that anything that is infected is completely changed all the way down to the molecular level. And I just want to point out that you know things are bad when Eggman is taking precautions. Because when you think about it, even in the Metal Virus series, when he knew just how dangerous that virus was, he refused to even wear a safety suit. So you know things are really bad. We get another look at Metal here, and while nothing has really changed with him, we do see that he's holding a torn arm, letting us know that the infected Mobians have tried to get into the egg carrier, or Metal has gone out and picked up a few test subjects. In the next chapter, we see that Sonic's back.
Oh, he got his. Yep, he got his arm. He got his
full metal arm, and he even has a knife attached, showing us that Sonic is definitely ready to put a stop to this infection and doesn't plan to be caught off guard again. The last thing we see in this chapter is this character called M.I.M.I.C. He has made his way to Angel Island and is confronting Knuckles. And he seems to want to infect Knuckles so that he can get to the Master Emerald and also have another strong infected in his army. But it seems like he may have bitten off more than he could chew with Knuckles. And while we don't get an animation of this fight or anything, I can only imagine the look on M.I.M.I.'s face when he thought that he was fighting like a normal Mobian, and then he gets walloped by arguably the physically strongest character in the Sonicverse. And in the next chapter, it gets even worse for the Mimic when we see Knuckles go super, although as a lot of people have pointed out in the comments, he looks like Hyper Knuckles here, but whatever the case may be, just know that he powered up. And while he's in this form, the important part is that he can't be infected. And as you can see in the image, he managed to break the Mimic's mask and even hurt the thing a little bit, although it looks like he still has a lot of fight to give. Now, while this battle is going on, we see Rouge arrive at the island, and she tells Knuckles that he needs to let her take the emeralds and hide them at like a gun facility. And although he's wary, I think he understands that he may not have a choice here, because it really seems like this Mimic is hell-bent on getting these emeralds. Now, over with Sonic, we see that he is back in the battle, but he's struggling a little bit. As you see here, he has blood on his sword arm, and this is because he has been taking out infected Mobians. And as we all know, Sonic never really wants to take lives, so this is weighing heavy on his heart, and obviously stressing him out. Luckily, he's able to meet back up with Shadow and Amy, who are both still doing fairly well, although all this fighting is starting to take a toll on Amy mentally. We also see here that she's done one of her tarot readings, and she sees like a dark future ahead of them. Hopefully, this is one of the few times where she's wrong, but I have a feeling that she isn't. And we get our first glimpse of this possibly dark future in the next chapter, when we see that Knuckles has run out of energy from the emeralds, and now this battle is really starting to take a toll on him. But to his credit, he's been fighting the Mimic for like 2 days straight with no backup. And while this is all going on, we see that Rouge is still hiding on the island, reporting what's happening over the Shadow and Gun, when suddenly Silver comes out of the wing portal and joins the fight. But they quickly realize that this isn't the Silver that they're used to, but rather one from a different timeline where he was mentored by Blaze, and it seems like something happened to her where she died a long time ago in his verse. But luckily, he seems to be fighting alongside Knuckles, helping him beat back this Mimic. Although, based on his stats, I wonder how long he'll be able to last mentally. Now, at this point, the Mimic looks straight up diabolical, with his ears looking more like horns, these creepy yellow eyes.
Ooh, he ugly. Ooh.
Eyes with bloody teeth. He also has an extra eye growing out of his chest, and his limbs are all out of proportion. And while this fight seems to be taking a toll on him mentally as well, his health is still nearly full, and he's still really strong. But with Silver being on the field and also having immunity, maybe they can actually start to chop this guy down, or at least they have a better chance of holding him off till Sonic or somebody else can get there to back him up. Now, back over with Tails, we see that he has grabbed Cream and is taking her to check on her mother and Cheese. But when they find her, she's already at the...
Oh, no.
The final stage of the infection, rooted to the ground after consuming everything around her. Seeing this, Tails makes Cream cover her eyes while he pulls out his arm cannon and puts Vanilla out of her misery. Can we get a rip for Vanilla down in the comments?
Yeah, rest in peace.
In the next chapter, we get a small transmission from Eggman, and he's basically saying that all his test subjects have died, and none of his treatments are having any effect on the virus. And he's really starting to get worried because he's one of the smartest people in the world, and he can't figure out a cure, and he's thinking that this may be a hopeless situation. Although I think if he teams up with Tails, they may actually have a chance here. Next in the transmission, we see Metal pop up, saying that more infected let him.
Oh, wait.
Although I think if he...
You got real bad breath. Oh my god. Oh my god. Tails roasted Eggman.
He teams up with Tails, they may actually have a chance here. Next in the transmission, we see Metal pop up, saying that more infected landed on the ship. And Eggman immediately orders him to take them out, which definitely won't be an issue for Metal, at least I would think. Now, back over with Amy and Sonic, we see that the two of them are fighting side by side, trying to make their way to Angel Island so that they can actually help Knuckles. They've also heard that Silver is back at this point, and that's stressing them out a little bit as well, because they understand that if he's here, that means that the world that he's come from has already dealt with this virus, and it probably didn't go well. After that, we see SBO, and I'm happy to see that he's cleared of the infection, and his stats are also pretty good.
Yeah, because SBO always gets infected, because yesterday he died. Yesterday when we watched that video, he died.
It seems like Heat and the rest of Chaotix have been doing patrols and trying to help the citizens as best they can.
So they're all agree? Charmy, SBO, and Vector. They're all a group.
And while Charmy is still safe and sound, he seems to be worried about Vector, who has been separated from the group for a while. And when we finally actually get to see his stat sheet, Charmy was...
He got infected! Oh my god! Oh! No!
was right to be worried about him. As you can see here, he is at the second stage of the infection, and it seems like he was infected while checking out the sewer system. And this is kind of a big deal because Vector is definitely one of the more physically strong characters in his verse, usually being ranked like right beneath Knuckles in terms of raw power. And last but not least in this chapter, we get to see my boy Omega.
Oh, he burned up somebody. He burned up somebody, you see it? He burned up somebody. What's his name?
And he's been tapped.
Omega. Oh, Omega. He said, homeboy, you ain't getting me today. And he lit that boy on fire.
That's what Guardian is in Westopolis. And he has been absolutely decimating the infected. As you can see by this little dude on fire here. In the next chapter, we see that Metal actually got banged up quite a bit when he went to defend the egg carrier. Been swarmed by a bunch of infected. But he did manage to win the fight, and has now been repaired by Eggman, and also getting some upgrades. Now, some good news in this chapter is that Eggman has created a suppressive for the virus, and currently has 2 test subjects in a stable condition. And this means that if he can catch people when they are at stage 1 of the infection, he can actually keep them from getting any worse. And while this isn't as good as a full-blown cure, it is a great first step at stopping this outbreak.
After that, we see Tails, and he's kind of depressed over the fact that he had to put Vanilla down in front of Cream.
While it definitely was the right thing to do, he understands that he hurt Cream in the process and feels a lot of guilt about it. And we even get to see that Cream has fallen into a state of shock, and she's been acting...
Cream, chill. Alright, listen, I know you loved your mom, but Tails had to do what he gotta do. You don't want to get infected, right? I'm sorry, but Tails said he doesn't want to get you infected, so he gotta do what he gotta do.
Kind of strange since that day. And when we look here, we see that her stress and sanity are completely gone now, meaning that she really may have had some type of mental breakdown. We also see that the Mimic's eyes seem to be watching her, and I wonder if this means that she may actually be infected, or if the Mimic is planning on infecting her in the future, since she seems to be like an easy target now. Next we see Silver, and while he's facing off against the Mimic, he reveals that if they let it get to the Emeralds, their world will basically be toast. He knows this because that's how his timeline ended up being destroyed. But then the Mimic drops some information that changes this whole battle. He says, I'm omnipresent. I'm here, there, everywhere. We are chaos. We are a hive. The Mimic reveals that the reason he was not surprised by Silver's arrival is because he remembers fighting him in the other timeline. And whatever kind of creature he is, he basically can transcend dimensions, corrupt each of those dimensions, and then maintain the memories from each. Definitely making this one of the more unique unique infection they use that we've covered so far, and honestly one of the more dangerous villains that we've seen, period. And if all that isn't bad enough, we see that the Mimic has also caught a bunch of infected animals to help him fight, and with Knuckles already been exhausted, this could have been really bad. But right as Knuckles kind of collapses in front of the Master Emerald, he hears a voice that says, Knuckles, release me. I can help. And we end up seeing a character that is usually overlooked in the Sonic series, and that is Call, I believe is how you pronounce it. This character is actually the same race as Knuckles, and long story short, when Chaos went on a rampage, she ended up actually stealing it inside the Master Emerald, using her own spirit as the lock in a way. And this is why the creature here is like a mix of Call and Chaos. The next chapter goes over to a transmission where we see Tails speak Cream, trying to figure out what's wrong with her. Because he just keeps asking about her mother, and then repeating the phrase, Mr. Tails, why? Over and over again. And then we see the face of
Mr. Tails, she's saying, Mr. Tails, why? That's because she's upset about her mom, but Tails had to do what he gotta do. He didn't want you to get infected. I know he shot your mother right in front of you, but he gotta do what he gotta do. She was infected.
Mimic pop up, and a portion of Tails' workshop goes up in flames. And we see here that Tails is looking for
fire. I'ma heat it up under my control. It's the night that you've been waiting on.
Cream, but honestly, I think that she's infected or been controlled by the Mimic in some way at this point. Luckily, Eggman gets word that Tails' lab is on fire, and once he realizes that Tails is still alive, he sets out to save him, and hopefully he can get there before the Mimic can actually finish him off.
It is official. Our reports confirm that Lego Pokemon creatures are finally...
Now, while that's happening, we see that Sonic and the gang have finally made it to Angel Island, and while Sonic's mental stats are not looking great, he still rushes to the shrine to stop the Mimic. But Sonic is hesitant and unsure of how to fight this thing, allowing Amy to run in, and she immediately goes to attack the Mimic. Amy is far less cautious than Sonic because she's been raised that all the Mobians that have been infected or died due to this thing. We also see that Shadow arrives on the island as well right after Sonic. As soon as he sees the Mimic, he takes a shot at it, and all the while, Call is doing their best to keep the Mimic at bay well. And considering that all of this is basically happening at the same time, we really get to see just how powerful this Mimic really is. And for my people wondering where Silver and Knuckle are at this point, they're basically exhausted and probably can no longer join into the fight. And if all this isn't bad enough, we see that the Mimic starts to transform one of its arms with it taking on the form of Vectors. And we also learn here that he can morph into any creature that has fallen victim to the infection. And considering how strong Vector is, Sonic and the team are going to have to watch out because if they do get punched by this thing, they're probably going to be done for because the Mimic is already strong, and if you add Vector strength on top of that, you have a real issue. The last thing that we see in this chapter is Eggman holding Tails, and while Tails is really beat up here, only having one heart left in the heart category, Eggman is able to actually get him to the ship and start to heal. And while Eggman is usually more reliability in these AUs, he's actually kind of coming in clutch in this one. The next chapter shows us a detailed recount of what's happening on the island right now, and I want to point out two things. Shadow tries to use his chaos control to tap into the chaos energy, but finds that he can't use the ability right now. The second thing is that Amy actually tries to attack the Mimic and ends up getting slapped down for her effort. And in the next chapter, we actually get to see that Amy's injury was much more severe than I thought, with the Mimic literally putting his claw through her stomach, which is why it's all covered in blood here. And seeing this,
Don't tell me she died. Please tell me she's okay. Please tell me she is surviving. Please tell me, please, bro. Oh my God.
Sonic goes into a rage, harnessing the negative energy from the Chaos Emerald and turning into Dark Sonic, which is a form that we rarely see, especially in AU. In this form, Sonic seems to be just mindlessly attacking the Mimic, and it's hard to tell if this is part of the Mimic's plan or not, because we see here it says, now we're getting somewhere, Hedgehog. Yes, feed into the void, feed into your failure. And this fear of mine kind of amplifies when we see Silver telling him not to give into the darkness, seemingly very worried as if he's seen this happen before, maybe in his own timeline.
So
and while Shadow
every time Sonic gets upset, like something bad happens to one of his friends, that's when he starts using the energy.
able to tap into any of the chaos energy. He is still actually helping Sonic fight, but he's also trying to stay out of his way because he knows that Sonic is kind of being reckless right now and doesn't want to get hit. Next we see that Amy is bleeding out on the battlefield, but Knuckles is with her using his ancient prayer to try and heal the wounds. But I think the bigger issue is that she's actually infected at this point. And if Knuckles ends up getting any of that blood on him, he may be infected as well. Now while they're fighting for their lives, we cut over to the egg carrier. We see that Eggman has finished the repairs on Metal, and he is looking absolutely juiced now. Apparently, Eggman inserted the Phantom Ruby into Metal's core, which grants him unlimited energy, and also reinforced his armor so that he won't get his arm or any other body part ripped off again. And I love the fact that even though they're in this world ending event, Metal is thinking about challenging Sonic once he starts to defeat it, and Eggman is only helping because he knows that he won't have a world to take over if he doesn't assist Sonic and the others. The final stat sheet that we get to see in this chapter is Jet flying around with Charmy. And apparently the little dude got separated from SBO, but still seems to be free of the infection and healthy. Hopefully the same can be said for SBO, but I guess we'll have to wait and see about him. In the next chapter we get to see that Tails has woken up and his wounds are all healed. And while it seems like Tails is wary of Eggman, once he realizes that he saved him from the fire and that Cream is now gone, he seems to calm down, but he's obviously sad that Cream is missing. I think he's still having a hard time understanding.
I hope she's dead. I hope she's infected or not.
Ending that Cream may have had her mind taken over. After that, we see that Eggman is finally heading over to Angel Island, where he will send Metal into the fight, hopefully being able to turn the tides in this battle. And speaking of turning tide, in the next chapter, we see Sonic has ripped off the Mimic's arm, saying eye for eye, since technically the Mimic is the reason that Sonic lost his arm. He then goes on to say life for life, meaning that he's going to kill the Mimic because the Mimic killed Amy. But even after taking...
No, he murdered Amy. No.
All that damage, the Mimic still doesn't seem deterred, saying that even if they tear him limb from limb, he's still going to win. But after seeing Silver here, I'm not too sure about that. We see that he's making a fireball in his hand, and that is because when Blaze died, she blessed him with the gift of the flames. And while it's hard to say how powerful this makes Silver, if he has even a fraction of Blaze's power plus his own strength, he should really be a force to be reckoned with right now. Especially since the Mimic may not...
Wait, before I continue this video, I am going to check if Blaze is actually alive in the Sonic universe. Let me just search it up. So guys, I searched it up and they said she's fine. So let's continue.
Be aware of this extra power that Silver has. Next we see Tikal again, who is actually getting nommed on by these Chows, and I think the reason that she won't attack them has to do with her backstory. I'm pretty sure she befriended a bunch of these little dudes and was even a protector for them, which is why she's refusing to fight. The good news here is that Metal is on his way, and considering that he can't be infected and he doesn't have any sympathy for any of these enemies, I think he's going to be a huge help in this fight, especially since for whatever reason, Silver has lost his immunity. The final scene shows Tails back on his feet, and we learn that Eggman has upgraded the blaster that he keeps on his hand, making it more powerful and more accurate. And understanding that this is likely the most important battle happening at the moment, Eggman starts to head to the island, ready to see how he and Tails can actually aid in this fight. Unfortunately, this is where the AU stops at the moment, but it seems like this creator has been pretty consistent, so I'm sure that he's going to probably get some updates out pretty soon. Now, in all honesty, this AU was much better than I was anticipating. Usually when AUs only have the stat sheets, they are a little bit lacking, but this creator did a very good job of giving us like additional information in the caption, really helping us fill out the scenes. Now my predictions for this AU is that as of right now, with the whole team kind of closing in on Angel Island or already been there, I really feel like Sonic and the gang will simply overpower the Mimic eventually, unless something happens with Sonic. Dark Sonic is kind of a wild card, and it almost seems like his transformation was a part of the Mimic's plan. So if Sonic truly is losing control and starts just attacking anybody, I feel like that's going to really throw a wrench in their plan, especially when you consider that the only people that will be able to go toe-to-toe with him would be right now Silver or Shadow, because of course Knuckles is out of commission. And really having two power...
Yes! Yeah, I'm recording a video. Alright, let's continue.
Powerful people from the Sonic team out of the fight basically would almost ensure that everybody else would be wiped out. The other thing that worries me a little bit is that the creator made sure to mention earlier on in this AU that humans can be infected by this virus, and I'm still not convinced that they're not going to do something stupid, especially since the virus will just straight up kill them after 2 days. As of right now though, we'll have to wait and see. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this video on the screen here. Subscribe to David Kermer with the Horse Force, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Peace.
Alright. Clap it up for this banger. Yeah. That was the banger right there. Alright, so I'm going to end this video right here at the moment. Alright. So thank you for watching today's video. Make sure to smash that like button and smash that subscribe button too. And I will see you in the next one if I find an infection AU, Sonic the Hedgehog infection AU, and I will see you there. So let's turn this off. So CJ and I'm out, and peace. Bye.